been a great desire to bring the two subjects of religion and human rights for lesbian, gays, bisexual, transgendered people together, so that we can consider the issues we all have in common and understand the differences we have from the different religious backgrounds we all come from. We're seeking today to look at some of the key religions in the world, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, to understand how they each relate to their members, their faithful people, their adherents, their ethnic members, how their religion and their sexuality are held together in their lives. But I'm now going to hand over to our first speaker, Bishop Michael Ingham, who is going to talk about the Christian context.
Thank you very much. Father Chris has a strong voice and I have a soft voice. In 1998, I was present at a gathering of bishops from the Anglican Church from across the world at something that we call the Lambeth Conference. And I was one of 80 bishops who voted against a resolution that declared homosexual activity to be contrary to Scripture. Unfortunately, another 700 bishops voted in favor of that resolution. And so I am quite familiar with being in a minority position. In the year 2002, my own diocese, as Father Chris has said, voted to accept the blessing of gay or lesbian same-sex couples in our churches in official and formal rites. When we made that decision, we lost 10% of our churches and 25% of our diocesan budget overnight. But not every Christian is a fundamentalist, and many Christians support the goal of full inclusion of LGBT people in our churches and in society. An organization representing 22,000 Catholic priests and nuns in North America wrote a public and open letter to the Vatican calling for the Catholic Church to change its position on human sexuality and homosexuality and the equality of women. Another example, bishops in the Lutheran Church in Norway have recently voted to endorse the full inclusion of gay and lesbian people in the Lutheran Church in Norway. The church in Sweden, the Lutheran Church in Sweden, has done a similar thing. Throughout the Anglican Communion, there is turmoil today as our church throughout the world tries to come to terms with the issue of homosexuality. And I want to suggest to you that that turmoil is, on balance, a good thing, because it means that the conversation has begun. In many places, LGBT people exist within churches through a conspiracy of silence and denial. The fact that turmoil has broken out is the beginning of the end of the silence and denial, and is the first step, a necessary step, to the church coming to terms with the presence of gay, lesbian, and transgender people.
It is a great privilege and a pleasure to be here. This is a historical moment for the queer Muslims all over the world, as it's the first time ever that we sit from all the continents practically together and can discuss these issues. So let me say that it is a very emotional moment for all of us. Our first speaker here is Imam Muhsin Hendricks, which is next to me. Imam Muhsin is the leader of the Inner Circle, which is a queer Muslim community in South Africa. And he also worked with the other people from the queer Muslim perspective all over Africa, but he will tell you more about this. So, welcome.
God says in the Quran, "O mankind, we have created you out of the pairing of a male and a female." Not that that's the only relationship God accepts. And he have made you into what the Quran terms as shu'uba and qaba'ila. And traditionally shu'uba and qaba'ila is translated as nations and tribes. But the more expanded meaning of that is that God has created you into different offshoots, different sex divisions, and different kinds of species. And why did God do this? So that you may come to recognize one another, not that you may despise one another. And God does not make distinctions between anyone except amongst those who are more God conscious than those who are not. God also says that everyone acts according to his own shakl. And shakl not just means disposition, but his own specimen, his own makeup, his own fashioning. And God knows best who is guided on the way. As regards to men that are not attracted to women, God includes them in the verse that says in Arabic, التابعين غير أولي الإربة من الرجال, the men amongst you followers, O Muhammad, or the men amongst your subordinates, your servants, who are not attracted to women. So the Quran do recognize that there are people that are not attracted to the opposite sex. And so we are taught that the Quran is sexist, it's racist, it's discriminatory, but yet we find there are many verses like these that are very liberating. So in essence, the Quran has been translated or interpreted by the patriarchy for more than 1,000 years. And that is the Islam that they're trying to force down our throats. So it is our responsibility as GLBTQ, as progressive Muslims, as feminists, to reinterpret the Quran that it becomes all-inclusive and non-discriminatory and non-sexist.